Hey everyone, welcome to Absolute Comics, the show that Sal and I bring to you every Tuesday at about 5 p.m. Eastern. Had to think of it off the top of my head, Sal. Today is a special Friday edition. For those of you who watch the show regularly, you'll be aware that there was no Tuesday show. Sal, did you know that we weren't here Tuesday?
Yeah, I noticed around Tuesday when we were not doing the show.
Long story short, we had a snow problem, couldn't get the whole team to the office, so we just took the whole day off as a snow day. But Sal and I love doing this show so much that we were like, immediately I called him up, what day do you want to do a makeup? So we decided to do it on Friday. Now, there's going to be a couple of changes to a Friday edition Absolute Comics that I want to go over. One, we're not going to talk about last week's comics, like in general. We'll talk about a couple things, but the comic book talk will be low, and the reason for that is simple. Last week's comics are kind of old, and Sal and I don't catch up on the current books until the weekend normally, unless it's like a huge title, like the finale to Deceased or something like that. That's just because we both do our shows on Monday, so you like to keep things fresh in your mind. That's the big reason we don't read till the weekends.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The second change to a Friday episode is some of this news may be a little older because it was supposed to be talked about 3 days ago. So keep that in mind when we're going through some of these topics where everyone's like, guys, you're late. We know. That's literally why we're doing the Friday episode. So
right, yeah. No, it's true. And it's a topical, weekly, disposable show. Like, we're going to have things, especially when it comes to leaks, that are like, yo, those leaks aren't real, or hey, those leaks were confirmed. Like, yeah, of course. Check the date.
So I just wanted to put that little caveat out there. Like Friday episode, for the most part, is going to be a pretty much normal episode. Just you'll have a little bit lower on comic books, and we'll have some of the stuff might be a little dated. That's about it, though.
Yeah,
so,
but heavy on the fun and the conversation. Trust me.
You can't promise them fun. Now, if we don't deliver fun, Sal, we've ruined it.
It's fun is subjective, man.
So, okay, since it's a little bit different, what did you do this week? Because, I don't know. I haven't spoken to you since
That's true.
Monday.
Yeah, we haven't really caught up this week. But I will say, we shot our show. We had a good time. Ben wasn't around, so it was a Ben-less episode.
Does that make it better or worse?
They're so different. Like Ben episodes add a very distinct flavor to them that that was conspicuously absent. But you know what? Like Tiffany and Ethan have an amazing chemistry, and I love seeing them play off each other. So for that, I'm grateful. So yeah, we shot the show. I hung out. I wanted to see Terminator 6 or whatever, but it isn't out yet. I gotta go wait until tonight or maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, with Terminator 6, I found it a bit weird in general because everyone told me it was coming out this week, and I was like, "What? No, it's not."
Yeah, yeah, no. And by the way, like, what is it with? I read about all these people getting these like invites to see Terminator, and I'm like, man, I love Terminator. Why can't I get an invitation? I know they're having premieres in New York. Come on, call me. I want to see Terminator early. I'm happy to lie. Sense. I'll be like, yeah, it's amazing. Like, come on. Wasn't that convincing?
The most incredible thing I ever saw.
It was better than T2.
My credibility's out the window, but you let me go see it early, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah, no. I'll see The Spirit 2 for free. Are you kidding me? Come on, let's go.
So actually, it's funny because I don't know if I told you this. I'll talk this real quick before we go into these topics, and this should make a longer episode. But I know exactly what you're talking about, the dynamic. So when we were making the 90,000 podcasts that we run out of the office here,
yeah.
Initially I was on almost all of them. And what we discovered as time went on, there was two reasons for that. One, I was supposed to be on them all initially, but we quickly realized it's very taxing on me, and I'm out of town a lot, so it becomes very difficult to do that.
Yeah.
The second reason was I had to kind of hype up the cast that we have here so that people would want to see them. Two shows in particular we discovered work 10 times better if I'm not on them. Even the audience enjoys them better. Tales of Earth, I have ADD. So when Gary goes on his little tangents where he just talks for 20 minutes about the actual conspiracy, I have a tendency to get very distracted by the Twitch chat or whatever's happening on Twitter or the latest business email I got. It's all business related, but I become a little more focused into that and then lose track of some of the things he said. We discovered overall that the conspiracy crowd did not like that. So
yeah, it's a very different audience. They expect it to be cold hard facts about this made up thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I dropped off of that show. The other one, which you'll surprisingly, the comic book review show.
What?
Worked better without me.
No, that's insane.
So Andy's a longtime fan, but he's also a writer and he overanalyzes things.
Right.
Dan is a new fan who overanalyzes things, but from a different point of view. I'm the guy that has to cram out 30 books and doesn't remember half the storylines sometimes because they weren't interesting.
True.
So it turned into a better discussion between Andy and Dan if I wasn't there. And it started with the three of us, but like we had the same issue we used to have with the weekly poll where sometimes we'd step on each other's toes or I wanted to talk about this and stuff like that. So it just became overall easier to manage if it was generally a Dan and Andy show. And so now I just pop up if it's a book that neither of them are reading and I'm all in on, you know?
Totally. Yeah, that makes sense. No, that's great. That's the best part about being like a proud father of a podcast network is being able to just pass it on, just being like, no, you can do it. You fly, baby bird, go and make
sure.
And
I wish
spread
that
your
was the
wings.
reason, but it really just was like, oh, cool, they're doing this. I can play Destiny.
Well, that's no. We tell them that they're spreading their wings, but really, we're all just secretly playing our own destinies and just going off and doing something else that we'd much rather be doing.
That after you're doing, we're all playing Destiny on the side.
We're all playing our destiny. Yeah, that'd be amazing if we're all part of some like guild.
And we didn't even know.
Yeah, we're like, what? You play Destiny on Tuesdays? I do that. No,
Do you run with these people? Do you? Were you in the raid last night?
Yeah. Oh crap! I wasn't mic'd. Yeah. So, no, that's great. How was your Halloween?
Awesome, because I didn't do anything. I ate Reese's peanut butter cups and played Destiny.
Nice. Did you
They have
get
a Halloween event?
trick-or-treaters?
So I was getting spooky Destiny game.
Yeah.
We got one. We turned the lights off, but before the sun went down, we got one that Natalie, she ran downstairs. So they go to the door, right? We hear ding dong, and Natalie blitzes downstairs to where I'm at in the office. She's like, Joe, go get the door. And I'm like, what? She goes, we're hiding from the kids. I'm like, we have candy. I mean, once the sun
Right.
goes down, the lights are off. We could just give this one kid candy. No, don't answer the door. They'll all be coming to the door. I'm like, okay. Let's go to the topics then, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's stop
jump in.
rambling. This
Yeah,
is the part of the
please.
show everyone skips.
They're like, oh my God, I don't care about you as a people. I just want to know what you think.
Wait, hold on. I have a better thing, because now they've all skipped to this part of the show, right?
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome to the show. We're sponsored by G Fuel. Go check out G Fuel and at your checkout, use the code COMICS.
Yeah. G Fuel's
Yeah.
good, by the way. You've converted my entire team to G Fuel. You
Seriously?
bastard. Yeah. Like,
Are they at least
literally,
using the code so we get a kickback?
literally, Tiffany and Ben turned to me the other day and they were like, so the G Fuel thing. I'm like, what about it? They're like, we all like it.
Did I ever tell? Okay, people are gonna hate me if they jump to this point. Did I ever tell you how we got that deal and how I basically shit on G Fuel to get
No.
that deal?
No,
So-
I've never heard of it.
My gaming chat can vouch for it, but the running joke was because I always thought that the energy powder esports thing was dumb.
Yeah.
The only ones I'd ever tried did not taste good, and I always drank Monster and coffee. That's basically what I drank, right?
Right.
And so the ongoing joke had become with my Final Fantasy 14 streams that G Fuel is horrendous. We're never going to try it, and it'll be hilarious if they were to sponsor a Final Fantasy 14 streamer.
Yeah.
And so Dan and me in Houston grabbed a couple G Fuel tubs because we were going to take the joke one step further
Right.
and like drink it on stream and be like, oh, it's so bad. Why would you do that? But we all liked it. So
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so the joke then flipped from make fun of G Fuel to like, dude, could we become the Final Fantasy 14 comic book guy for
Right?
G Fuel?
And they were like, yes, please.
So I never reached out to them. I didn't talk to them. I just thought it'd be funny because they're known for like big names in esports. So I'm like, they're not gonna care about the comic book guy that doesn't get a lot of upfront views or the Final Fantasy 14 streamer that gets 100 viewers. They're not gonna care.
Yeah.
But I ran into them at an event and I got introduced to the community guy. So I told him that story. I was like, haha. And he goes, well, do you want to be? And I'm like, kind of. And he goes, we can work it out. And I'm like, are we still joking?
Right? I feel like we're all going to dinner now. And then you did, and you got it.
Yeah,
No,
we went to a Chinese place with a giant table in the middle that you can spin it around. So you all get like, yay, those are awesome.
Yes.
I'm going to take it to, I know you have them in Jersey, but I'm going to take you to the one we went to in LA just to give you a trip to LA.
I would love that. I would love that.
All
That'd
right.
be great.
You want to hit the topics now then?
Let's do it.
And for a record, yes, go use the code COMICS at checkout and you'll get 10% off your order. Let's go ahead and kick off the original discussion, Black Label. So Constantine Black Label got announced.
Yeah.
and I agree with this, what Dan said yesterday, and I wanted to throw this to you, which is why I wanted to turn this part of our discussion into just Black Label in general.
Sure.
Black Label's original announcement was going to be the darker, the edgier, the more mature versions of your favorite superheroes that you cannot get in the normal DC line, and they proved that by showing us Batman's penis.
Right.
For those of you guys who don't know, that was not a mistake. That was 100% intentional. They even had nude Harley Quinn lined up for the next issue.
Yep.
Batman White Knight was supposed to come out with naked Harley Quinn in it. As a matter of fact, those pages are out there. You can actually see, before he colored them in, what naked Harley Quinn was supposed to look like.
True.
I'm just saying, like, this was supposed to, like, at the time.
No, it's true. Yeah, there's precedent. We know it exists. It's out there. Well, and that was the plan. That was and it wasn't like it's going to be the sex version of the DC universe. It was literally just going to be like, these are the mature books. These are the books for adults, and we're going to prove that by making more adult-oriented content and the stuff that you've never seen in a DC comic before.
Right. Well, and that was the whole point. And I feel like, just like a lot of R-rated movies throw, like, well, this girl got topless just to get us the R.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's what DC Black Label was trying to do. They're like, well, just have a topless Harley Quinn. That'll get headlines.
It did?
People don't. Well, yeah, and people aren't even aware of this, but they were even going to release the full version of Killing Joke that actually showed Joker did rape Barbara Gordon, as opposed to implying.
I didn't realize that was the case. I thought it was just that they were like, the photos that the Joker took were more graphic.
Maybe that was it. I mean, they never came out, so I don't have like anything to work off of here.
Because as I recall, what's it called? When they asked Alan Moore about it, or Brian Boland, I can't recall which one, but one of them said, one of them was asked, hey, did the Joker rape Harley Quinn? They're like, what? Like they were like, that was not the plan. I mean, like, okay. Or at the very least, like, that was not our intent.
Right, but, right. Okay. Well, then I heard just through the rumor mill. The problem is, basically, the problem with that kind of thing is like they say something and then it just runs wild.
Exactly.
Just like the whole thing with the Killing Joke of Batman killed the Joker at the end of the Killing Joke. No, he didn't. Like, the definitive answer is he did not. But I think Alan Moore, somebody said at one point that he intended to kill Batman, have Batman kill the Joker, but DC stopped it early, and that became no. Batman kills the Joker. I'm like, no, it's not it.
Right. No. I don't think anyone expected the Killing Joke to be in continuity, especially the people who created it. They were kind of like, we're just doing the story. And then they were like, oh, it's awesome. Let's make it a thing that happened. And Moore's like, whoa, no, but we paralyzed Barbara. And they're like, yeah, that's awesome. And he's like, oh. Okay.
So anyway, Black Label was supposed to be this big deal, and then as everyone knows, they came out with the Batman penis. WB came in and was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, which for the life of me, and I did a whole video about it a while back, but like basically the short version is that sucks because you had money on the table, you just left there because you had late night talk show hosts talking about a Batman book, and yes, were they making fun of the concept? Yeah, it's the lowest hanging fruit. Those guys are obviously going to do that. But you missed an opportunity for Jim Lee or DiDio or anybody else to go out on those shows, sit on the couch and go, yeah, you know what? You want to spend $9? You can see Batman's dong. But for the added price of admission, you also get a damn good story. And then all of a sudden, the books sell like crazy. Instead, what they do, they pulled the first issue off shelves and pulped it. You'll never see that.
It was ridiculous the way they did that. And for our chats are like, did WB not know? No, they obviously didn't because
they had to.
They went through and did a whole shakeup at DC and like changed people's jobs and fired a bunch of people. They're like, what were you doing? Batman's our biggest character. We cannot have naked Batman out there.
Right. Which for my money, I don't understand why. I think that's dumb. It's not like children were buying Batman Damned by accident and finding like that situation. I think it was a bonehead move. No,
I agree with you on that. So we've seen a complete change in the way that DC Black Label has been handling itself. And this is where I don't. Let me ask you this, Sal.
Okay.
With the way it's coming out now, what is DC Black Label? If I were to ask you, what is this? What would you tell me?
I'd tell you it's a PG-13 plus imprint.
Okay.
That's exactly.
Because the issue is, like Andy and Dan were saying, it's supposed to be like the more extreme stories, but not just regular Elseworlds and stuff like that.
Right.
And if you look at it, as much as I love things like Last Night on Earth, that is a normal Batman book. Scott Snyder is treating that as his ending. Like,
no, well, like, and then you have the retroactive reprintings of like All-Star Superman. That's a
Yep.
Black Label book too. White Knight wasn't a Black Label book until they reprinted it, and now it's a Black Label book. There's all kinds of Killing
But they
Joke
also
is a
didn't
Black
add
Label
in
book.
the nudity that he wanted to put into the book. So it's just White Knight is a Black Label book. That's all it is.
Right. So I don't really think they know what Black Label is, but there was a lot of money and publishing initiative behind it. So they can't just say, okay, well, the whole thing was a bust. We're just going to put a rating on the comic. No, now we can say like, because the thing is, Black Label is supposed to be, you put the imprint on it, you know, based on the logo, that it's for adults. That's the end of
Right.
it. But then you put the logo on things like All-Star Superman, and you're like, well, what the hell is this?
That's not just for, and that's the issue. Because like we just had Joe Hill come out with a whole bunch of horror books, which by
Yeah.
the way, I didn't find out until yesterday. Apparently he's Stephen King's son.
Yeah, well, he changed pen names so he wouldn't get lumped in with his dad, so he could actually make it on his own, which I think is really cool.
Right. I actually applaud him for that because I had no idea, and I do like his writing. I had no
Yeah.
idea that it's Stephen King's son. But he's got 4 books that are basically Vertigo books now.
Right. And I think he has his own weirdo like imprint called Hill House or
Yeah,
something to that
yeah.
effect. But isn't that also a Black Label book?
It is a Black Label. It's like an imprint inside of an imprint.
Yeah, what? Hill House and Black Label. Now you're getting ridiculous. Like, what even is this supposed to be?
And that's what the question is. For the record, I love the Black Label books. I have been
Totally.
loving them. They've been really good, but are they Elseworlds? Are they indie books? Are
Right.
they mature books? Are they just classic stories turned into Black Label, like All-Star Superman? Or is it all the above?
I think it's literally because it's one of those syndrome situations where like if everyone's super, nobody is. Like if Black Label applies to like everything, then Black Label's literally nothing. Like it's just an imprint they use interchangeably with what they probably used to use. Or like is Watchmen a Black Label book?
Will be.
I wouldn't be surprised if the logo is on their covers of the new prints, and I'm like, no. Like, it's not even a DC. It's practically not even DC book, but whatever. Like,
I'm wondering if they're just kind of turning Black Label into more of the prestigious line.
Yeah, that'd be okay. I mean, like, if they want to do that, well, and
Just
you
say
look
that's
at,
what they're doing, though. That's all I need. I just need to know that that's what Black Label is, and that,
right.
and then you could even pitch it like, oh, it's a Black Label book. Oh man, must mean it's good. It kind of reminds me almost like, remember back in PlayStation 1 day, and I know you played PlayStation 1.
I did, yeah.
But whenever you saw the green bar, you knew the game was good because it sold a ton. You know what I'm saying? The greatest hits label. So
Yeah.
maybe that's what Black Label's becoming, more of the greatest
It
hits
could
line
be.
of DC.
Or I would go so far as if you're a movie buff, the Criterion Collection.
Which would make sense if we weren't also getting new books under this label.
No, and that's the thing. Like, you got All-Star Superman and also Frank Miller's Superman Year One, and they're both very different, but also equally not adult. They're
Right.
basically just interchangeable with the books that are on the shelves. It's just that they're both out of continuity.
I mean, I don't
know.
count Curse of the White
The
Knight.
Black Label thing,
I was gonna say with the White Knight, I don't consider it a Black Label book. 'Cause when you were gonna add nudity in there, so it's almost like the unrated director's cut. Cool, but if you're just re-releasing White Knight as is, that's a
Yeah.
very PG-13 book. Like,
absolutely. The only thing about it, and I noticed like with the sequel, I don't remember what it's called.
Curse of the White Knight.
Thank you. With Curse of the White Knight, that book does have at least cursing in it. Not really hard-edged cursing, but still more hard. Like they say the S word, where you would not find that in your regularly scheduled monthly Batman book.
Right. And I almost feel like Curse of the White Knight is being geared to be Black Label now.
Totally.
Like they went to Sean Gordon Murphy and they're like, hey, you're going to go under our adult line. So if you want to throw in some cursing, a little more extreme violence, if you want to portray the death of Gordon as like the death of RoboCop with 1,000,001 bullets hitting him.
Yeah. No, and I think that's exactly right. Well, if you recall, Murphy had said when he put out the original White Knight, he had pages that he wanted to put out that were like more NC-17, and he was like, maybe what we can do is we can put out like a black and white version of the book. He didn't really even know there was going to be a Black Label thing. And then when Black Label came out, he's like, oh, well, this is the perfect place. And they were going to do that. Now it's like, because he had worked on Curse of the White Knight in the post-Black Label world, he's like, oh, yeah, no, I'm just going to do what I want to do. And even then, he probably can't do everything he wants to do because, of course,
You probably had a bunch of naked people again.
Probably. I mean, like, of course. I mean, like, look, Harley's pregnant. I mean, there's going to be a scene where she's either breastfeeding or she's going to like give birth, and we're not going to see anything like that either. Which take that as you will. I don't think that's really a shame. I'm just saying, like, there's opportunities. Plus, there's there's opportunity for graphic violence, which again, I honestly feel like it might be exploitative at that point because like Murphy's art is so good.
Oh, it really is
so excellent. I don't know if I want to see him like lopping heads off, and even if I did, I don't know if that'd be even too graphic for his style. So I don't know. But Black Label's a weird. It's a quagmire.
I feel like DC. I'll end with this thought on the Black Label topic.
Sure.
I don't feel like DC fully knows what they want to do with it now.
Nope.
Like it was supposed to be the mature line, and that made total sense. Damn was in there. We had they were gonna re-pepper in some old books with some nude scenes that the writers had drawn up.
Yep.
It made sense as to what it was, and the only oddball at the time was Last Night on Earth. Because Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo, you're just like, okay, they're using Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo to tell a cool story, but it's the only one that feels like it's really PG-13.
Totally.
Now there's so many things in it. I don't even want to call it the prestige line.
No.
Maybe it's a prestige format line because when the books are released, they come out like 60 pages thick.
I think that's what it is. I think it's just like we want to put out more like perfect binding prestige format books. I mean, Last Night is the only one that isn't the oversized format either.
No, it is. It is oversized. It's 60 pages.
What? No, I know, but I mean, it's not like blown up. Like Damned and Superman Year One, and I think Harleen are all like this really extra big version of the book.
Oh, I remember that from the Damned because I couldn't find where to fit it.
Exactly.
It's weirdly fit, and I got the bat penis. Where do I put it?
Yeah, I have my copy as well.
You know what I just realized? I said that it's the bat penis is weirdly thick.
But yeah, what's it called? But Last Night, it's just a regularly sized comic. It is oversized length, but it's still like it looks really tiny in comparison to Batman Damned. By the way, if you want to store those, get the magazine bags and boards. Those fit perfectly.
I will add one last thing to this and just see what you think about this because I have an opinion on this. One of our chatters for the Twitch chat while we do this live asked, why do we think that Tales of the Dark Multiverse isn't a Black Label? I think that's because Tales of the Dark Multiverse is technically traditional canon.
Right.
Technically, it is a world in the Dark Multiverse that could be visited or whatever by the individuals of the story. So that's the only reason why I think it isn't.
I think that Tales of the Dark Multiverse is not under Black Label because they don't need to push the envelope with them, and they're quick and easy to make, and they want to make them make more money. Like, they want them to just be out. Like, there's no reason to do it, but then again, if there's no reason to do it, there's no reason not to do it. So, but the only reason why I think I honestly feel like the only reason they're not Black Label is because they didn't think of it.
Maybe.
Well, also, it's building up towards the crisis. Tempest Fugonaut is
and that's what I'm saying.
Harbinging that thing. So it's in continuity.
And that's what I mean. It's in canon. It's in continuity. They are Elseworld stories, but those worlds are in continuity. He's going through and visiting them. This is what happened on these planets.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Although Last Night is supposed to be like kind of technically connected to the Capullo-Snyder run, so
Well, it is. When I spoke with Scott Snyder about it, he's basically said if he was allowed to just do an ending, this is what it would be, but he can't officially do that. So
no, because they're not going to stop doing Batman.
Right. Like that'd be incredible if they did. But all right.
Oh, I know.
Let's talk about real quickly the Dark Multiverse Justice League. So Dan posted this in our topics as a maybe, but we know for a fact that the Batman Who Laughs is basically building that.
Right. That's cool.
It's going to tie into the Tales of the Dark Multiverse, and stuff like that. But we basically get all these evil versions of the Justice League. I don't really have much to say about it because we already knew he was turning some people on the Prime Earth into those who laugh, and we already knew that he was going to build a Justice League to fight against Lex.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's cool. I think that, that makes sense. I like the idea that the Batman Who Laughs is kind of lonely. Because it is Bruce Wayne. Why? If Batman's such a loner, why are there 19 members of the Bat family and he's also a full-time member of the Justice League? It doesn't seem like a loner to me.
I never thought of that. You're right. He's this lone wolf who strikes fear to the hearts of villains with a really expansive family.
Yeah, with 1 million sons and daughters and a whole bunch of friends. And he treats all of them like dirt. What? But I like the idea that Batman Laughs is like, yeah, no, I want to have my own roster of characters. But I think that's a great idea in the scope of Batman Who Laughs. Me personally, I'm kind of done with the Batman Who Laughs as far as like seeing him in like everything I'm reading. Like, he pops up everywhere now, and I'm like, I get
feel like
it.
he should have been a once a year. Once a year, every other year guy. That's what he should have been.
They should just swap him out. Like Joker once a year. The next year, Batman Who Laughs. Just keep swapping them back and forth. And then do your horrible Batman Who Laughs versus Joker book. But at the very least,
oh my God, I didn't even think of that.
I mean, he's kind of fought against him a little bit in Dark Knight's Metal and, of course, in the Batman Who Laughs miniseries, but not a straight up like Joker going, okay, I've had enough of this guy. I think that'd be great. I would like to see that. But as far as a Justice League Who Laughs, meh.
I mean, I'm on board. The Dark Multiverse version would be cool. I think it'll be interesting to see them battle. I like this Dark Multiverse idea and these evil versions of our superheroes, because what I like about it is all of these fun multiversal ideas, because we kill Superman every year. We turn Batman evil every year. Like I like that they're going further than, oh, this is how Superman died this time.
Right. Yeah, no. I loved the Death of Superman Dark Multiverse issue. I thought it was really fun. And I'm like, hey, what a great exploration of that concept. So I want to see more of it. I think that it has legs and it's a great title. Keep it up. It's going to be good.
So, okay, moving on. We got Silver Surfer. Now, you tell me more about this one. So, what exactly happened? Because the note says he spilled his atoms into the cosmos, and that just sounds like a Silver Surfer porn to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's more or less like at the end of Donny Cates' run, he did this 5-issue miniseries, Silver Surfer Black, and basically, of course, he had Silver Surfer fight Null, because why wouldn't he? But ultimately, the idea here is that like Silver Surfer kind of like goes like back in time, more or less, and uses the power cosmic to seed the like universe, and inadvertently or maybe deliberately creates Zen-La, the planet from which he is from. I think it's a really neat concept. It's just kind of like more cementing Silver Surfer into the like birth of and connection to the Marvel universe, and it allows for what's his name I don't know, for Norrin Rad to be cooler again and to matter. I always feel like Norrin Rad is just like Ghost Rider and just like Lobo. He's very much a character of like the 90s and before. He's a surfer. You know what's funny? I was actually that reminded me. That book actually makes a reference to Straczynski's Silver Surfer Requiem, which is a really incredible miniseries with some gorgeous art. But Spider-Man asks him, he goes, "Why a surfboard?"
Yeah,
and he's like, basically, Silver Surfer says, "Form follows function." Like, I need to like travel, and I need an instrument to do it, and the board is the most like aerodynamic. It's just kind of like. It's not a very good answer, but it is enough of an answer to say, like, because it looks freaking dope. Because he looks really cool doing it. And and that's all he needs. I will say, in Cates' story, he also takes the Stan Lee written Silver Surfer miniseries that was drawn by Mobius and like weaves that narrative in. Because as far as I'm concerned, Silver Surfer Black is Donny Cates' eulogy to Stan Lee. It's very flowery. If you ever read Stan Lee's Silver Surfer run, it has a lot of. It's the place where Stan Lee really, really tries to be a writer, and he's just got a lot of really fun prose and metaphors and flowery language. And if you don't like that kind of thing, you're not gonna enjoy it. Coincidentally, you're also not gonna enjoy the Silver Surfer cartoon show. It's exactly like that, the old one from the '90s. But it was a great way to kind of like say goodbye to Stan while also paying homage to what he did and his impact on this character that was like, that for the most part, like many people, is kind of discounted. People are like, Silver Surfer. He looks cool. He does stuff. Power Cosmic, I guess. Most people are like, is he even still the Herald of Galactus? Like, he hasn't been forever. But like, there's a lot to that character if you care about that character.
And I'm a fan of him. I just always thought of him as a byproduct of like the 90s and before.
No,
like
he was
built.
He was created in the 60s. Like, he's a 60s character.
Well,
but,
I mean, 60s, 70s when surfing was big. Surfing wasn't big in the 90s, but
he's gnarly.
Just like we can look at Ghost Rider and Lobo and we're like, yeah, they came out around the 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Look at the leather jacket. Look at the bike.
Oh, I know.
At Lobo. Yeah, like you can
Their
look at all
popularity
that.
certainly stemmed from that, and the iconography. Like, Lobo is a product of like late 80s roadies and thrasher subculture. And so, it's hard to find a place for him now.
And well, he's basically just a brute force is what they use him as. And then, you know, you got Ghost Rider, who up until recently, they can't ever make him interesting. Like, I love Ghost Rider, but every time they made him interesting, the book wouldn't sell. He just, oh, look, he's got a flaming motorcycle and there's nothing interesting about him because he just beats people up. That's what sold.
He's a cool tattoo. I love Ghost Rider and his visuals. Did you read the most recent Avengers where, like, Robbie Reyes is fighting against his uncle and he goes like, hey, listen, for the record, you were the worst Ghost Rider. And Robbie's like, I take that as a compliment because Ghost Riders are stupid.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fair enough, Aaron. Jesus, you're kind of throwing arrows here, but all right. But yeah,
I mean, I love Ghost Rider. I loved his. I've read the original run where he had to get everyone back into hell, and it was just a carbon copy of one of those TV shows where they did the exact same thing. The Damnation was great with Ghost Rider, where he took over as King of Hell. That was a lot of fun. And then we have Spirits of Vengeance, where the art was just insane with the fire and the brimstone. And then Ghost Rider 1, I'm loving it because you got basically Johnny Blaze as a villain, but he's still like Johnny Blaze, you know?
Yeah. No, he's sympathetic and interesting. I'm down for the new series. But you should, by the way, if you like the Silver Surfer, if you've ever been interested, read Silver Surfer Black. It's so good.
Okay, yeah, I'll check it out. I started it, I think, at one point, but
yeah, it's heady, but like not really. And plus, Trad Moore's art is like the most Kirby-esque you'll get without Kirby. So
the last Silver Surfer book I read was Dan Slott's Doctor Who version, which I actually enjoyed a lot.
It's fun. It's nothing like that at all.
Okay. All right, next up on our list here then, let's go ahead and jump to keep us in the comic lineup. Old Man Logan officially dies in Dead Man Logan 12.
How could we ever have predicted this? It's almost like they telegraphed it in the title.
Oh, yeah, I know, exactly. Well, so I like Old Man Logan.
Me too.
But can we just talk about for a moment that Marvel's like, we are finally killing Wolverine. We're finally giving him his due because Fox owns the license and we don't want to let him have it. But we're finally giving Wolverine his due. We're killing him. We're bringing back Old Man Logan. We had him for like 5 years running around the main universe. It wasn't like a one-off or a special occasion. It didn't go for like 6 issues and then he went home. There's 50 issues of the original run where he fights Maestro, by the way, which is awesome and not at the same time because it's like, it's kind of Maestro, but it's not.
Exactly. It's not quite, but it's enough where you're like, okay, it's cool.
Yeah.
But I know it's not.
And then they're like, we got Wolverine back. Oh no, we kind of killed Old Man Logan. What if we started another one? Dead Man Logan.
I can totally believe that because that's so Marvel, where they're like, okay, let's kill him. We could just kill him at the end of Old Man Logan, or we could do a whole series where we tease his death, like we did with Wolverine. Wolverine died in a series called The Death of Wolverine. So yeah, but I'm sad. I feel bad because like poor Old Man Logan, you know, he never really got a good shake because like on one hand, you know, Wolverine is Old Man Logan because like he's old and he's grizzled and he's miserable. But then you have like older and more grizzled. Like, I don't know.
The problem with Old Man Logan, I think, is the entirety of his existence in the main Marvel universe was just, it was almost like they use him as, okay, we're going to really make a depressing version of Wolverine. We are going to constantly beat him down, tear apart his friends, make him panic about a Hulk baby. We are going to make this the most depressing Wolverine ever so that we can just kill him in the end and you get like a sad story of an old man Wolverine.
Basically, yeah. Well, for me, I'm like, why don't you just like send him back? Like, does he need to die?
They did for a little while, and then he came back.
I know, but like, don't leave him here. Like he can only die here because he's redundant. So get rid of him. But like, send him back, you know, or give him a send off, or make him a cosmic character like you did with Ulysses or something. You know, like do something cool with him. Make him a Phoenix or something. Make him a Thor. I don't know, but like, don't just kill him off. He's here. He's got a full history, and most of us like this guy. And you forced us to follow his adventures because you got rid of the other Wolverine.
Yeah.
And then poor Laura got marginalized too. Like, I don't know. I
feel bad for the Laura situation because everyone always, like during that whole period where Marvel swapped out every one of their superheroes, which as we've now discovered was pretty much just editorial not talking to each other, and they just happened to do it all at the same time. I as much as I know about how comics run, people like to be like, no, that was a whole push to try and push down these minorities and women in our throats. I'm like, no, I know enough from the inside to know that they probably didn't talk to each other, and that's entirely what happened.
Yep, it's just they had too few editors. Like, it was just
Yep.
there weren't enough editors, and once one or two of the writers were able to get away with doing something that they knew the editorial department probably would have said no to, they told all their friends, and they all were like, let's do it now. No one's paying attention.
That's exactly what happened, because, I mean, if you don't know, fun fact about character creation real quick, and this is why I feel bad for the X-23 situation.
Yeah.
If a writer makes a character and that character takes off, they get residuals forever for it, because that character is their character. Brian Michael Bendis making Miles Morales means that every time Miles Morales is used, they're getting paid.
Yeah.
It's the big reason why you don't see Static Shock in DC, because whatever the issue is, DC doesn't want to pay the family.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say, like, it's funny that when Bendis created Riri Williams, a black American tech head who wore an Iron Man suit, there obviously was one named Lila Rhodes, who was James Rhodes' niece, who was exactly that.
Yeah.
But Bendis wouldn't get paid forever
if they used her.
if he just made her interesting.
Yes.
So Riri Williams exists. Like,
the same thing with Amadeus Cho Hulk. I guarantee you that it was so different from the original that Greg Pak can get paid for Totally Awesome Hulk.
Yeah.
As opposed to, because that's another thing. You can take a character, change it so much that you can actually argue I deserve residuals for the direction I've taken a character.
Yeah.
But you can't, if Robbie Ray's Ghost Rider is another good example. Like, he was created and whoever made him is getting paid. These are all current creations. So when one writer's getting away with it, they're all going to be like, I got to make mine and maybe it'll take off and I get paid. Like,
yeah, that's right. I mean, like,
writers don't get paid well.
yeah, they don't get health insurance. Like, it's hard work, and as you get old, the Comic-Con that you go to is full of people who built your dreams and now are signing your books and don't have any more work to do. Like, creating a character and having something in perpetuity, particularly in a media-dominated world where it's like, hey, listen, Riri is cool and all, and we're gonna make some comics, but like maybe they'll make a cartoon show after her or a movie or something. And hey, listen, like if that happens, I get a check for those, and then if those get like syndicated, I get a check for that like forever. So it's all about figuring out how to make this fun, awesome job that doesn't pay very well pay enough for you to keep doing that fun, awesome job.
Yep. Tevi brought up too, Kamala Khan's a great example.
Silk.
G. Willow Wilson's doing well. Silk. That was why Silk was. I guarantee that's why Dan Slott made Silk. I'll make my own Spider-Woman.
Yep.
So that I can try to get her to sell. And I actually liked Silk. I thought Silk was a great invention.
I hated her when she first showed up, but like other people did better stuff with her, and so she became a character.
Her
again.
first appearance was kind of like, this is so redundant. There's no reason for this.
It was bad, but yeah.
But once they started deep diving into her own lore, I really liked her. Same thing with Spider-Gwen. When Spider-Gwen first showed up, I was like, oh, what is this? And then they ran in their own direction with it, and I'm like, that's fun.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the topic of X-23, I felt that she got the shaft in this whole Old Man Logan, Dead Man Logan, Wolverine, because of all the timeline things that made sense. Wolverine dying and her becoming Wolverine made sense. And she didn't do it in the manner of like, oh, I am Wolverine. It was like, I'm honoring my basically father.
Right, exactly.
And that made sense. And Tom Taylor gets like nothing, almost like no credit for that, because they just had to revert her back to being X-23, and that was the end of that.
I know. She looks better in the yellow and blue anyway.
Yeah. I liked that whole thing, the whole X-23 as Wolverine thing.
I agree.
If anything, they should have like somehow figured out a way to make it work continually or something like that. I don't know. But
Right.
We tried 2 Captain Americas. That didn't work, so.
Yeah.
Someone had to give up their shield.
That's right. Listen, there's only one shield made of vibranium, and someone's got to hold it, so what are you going to do?
So anyway, little tangent aside on that one. It's just going all the way back to the character. What this all started with? Let me look that back up real quick. All right, Old Man Logan dying. So anyway.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's dead. So anyway, he'll be back.
I don't think he will.
Sure
So I don't know. So Old Man Logan came out, obviously pretty popular. The book ran 50 issues in a day and age when Marvel was restarting Spider-Gwen every 6, pretty much. So the fact that it went 50 issues means that it was selling very consistently.
Yeah.
And they launched like almost spin-offs. Old Man Quill, Old Man Hawkeye.
Yeah.
They made
and they're
Old
good.
Man Deadpool and Old Man Spider-Man. They were just in Spider-Man Deadpool.
Yeah. By the way, Old Man Quill and Old Man Hawkeye are pretty good. Like,
Yeah?
Old Man Quill is fun.
I didn't even read either one of them. I was just
Old
like,
Man
oh.
Quill. I would read Old Man Quill more. It's pretty cool.
Dan started Old Man Hawkeye, and he was just kind of like, it's not good. Don't read it. And I'm like, okay.
Old Man Hawkeye is easy to skip because it's a prequel to Old Man Logan. You know what's gonna happen.
Those are always the worst when you put out a prequel.
Yeah, but Old Man Quill, pretty cool. Check it out.
So, okay, moving on then. I think we've tangented enough on why new characters are created when there's existing characters out
Right.
there. For the record, it's the same reason why TV shows do it. Why do you think
Yeah.
they made John Diggle and Felicity? It's whoever created that. If those characters can live on, they'll get paid.
Yeah. Why does Ollie have a sister? Because now the person who created her can have that character forever.
Yep. That's why you see these creations. It's why there are 900 spider people.
Right. Yeah. It's why things that happen to those characters don't happen to Peter Parker, because like otherwise just a forgotten story in Spider-Man's history as opposed to a check in my bank account. So,
Right.
yeah.
That's why there's like Spider-Woman, Ayana, Corazon.
Yeah,
How many
Corazon,
Spider-Women are there now? We got Silk, Spider-Gwen, and Jessica. There's 3.
There's also Jessica Drew.
There's
You got,
Ayana, I can't pronounce her name, but
you got basically Aranya.
Aranya, that was it. That's another one.
Julia Carpenter, who is
Julia.
technically Madam Web. Does Madam Web count? She's dead, but she was a Spider Person or a Spider Woman too.
I won't count her because the Spider-Women I'm thinking of all have the same power set.
Right. Okay, then alternate realities. You got Spinneret from the Renew Your Vows universe.
Why do you think they didn't revive? Why do you think they made a new Mayday Parker for Renew Your Vows instead of just continuing Mayday Parker?
Yeah, because like even though Dan Slott doesn't want to talk about a married Spider-Man, when he spun out the Renew Your Vows thing, he's like, mine.
Yep.
So you got Spinneret and Mayday Parker. And then Maddie Franklin, J. Jonah Jameson's adopted daughter. She was a Spider-Man person too.
Yep.
There's more.
So what we're getting
Spider-Gwen.
Yeah. Spider-Gwen. Yeah. And you know why they keep making those? Oh, people like Spider-Man and they like Spider-Man with boobs. So let's just make Spider-Women out galore. Hopefully one of them catches on.
Yeah, and I'd say probably 50% of them did.
They're all still here, aren't they?
They are all
The
still
only
here.
one you never really see is Ariana, the Anya, Anya.
Yeah.
You don't see her ever.
Yeah.
You don't see Julia Carpenter, and you don't see that Ariana girl ever. Those are the only 3 that didn't make it.
No.
Female Peter Parker can go on that list. The Spider-Woman of the Ultimate Universe.
Yes, I forgot about that. That's Jessica Drew too, but also
Yep.
technically clone of Peter Parker. Yeah.
So,
Wow. That's a lot.
I like Slock from our chat to reset what I said. People like Spider-Man. People like boobs.
Why not? I mean, yeah. And everybody likes money. So.
Yeah, everyone likes money. Anyway, okay, let's go on to the Valiant 2020 campaign. What is I know we talked to them. We know a little bit about this from having connections with them. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if there's anything new that was announced.
No, we could talk a little bit where we're like, hey, wouldn't it have been cool if there was going to be a Valiant cinematic universe, but there can't be now?
Yeah, I mean, and when we asked Valiant about that actually directly, they didn't say really anything about it because they don't really, they're the publishing house. They can't really, I mean, that is over their head as to who's getting the rights to each one of these things.
Exactly. But we do know that Harbinger is over at Paramount now instead of at Sony, so...
It's just, why? Why did you let that happen, Sony? And then keep making Bloodshot. Should have just let them all go.
I can't believe they did that. I guess they were just like, well, because Bloodshot is technically like an action character. Like it's basically just like if we had Riddick. Like, so yeah.
Well, I mean, that's basically what Bloodshot is. I mean, they're doing Vin Diesel and they're not even putting him in the white body paint for like 90% of the movie. So
right, yeah, exactly.
Let's get Riddick, but more on the world.
That being said, like the U.S. domestic trailer, I was like, oh, this actually looks kind of cool. Like this looks like a real movie.
It does, because up until now we've heard so much about it in the works that it's just kind of like, all right, well, let's see what happens.
Well, I'm like, is this movie done? Like, I've been hearing about this movie for like 5 years. Like, when is this going to be over? And then finally we see a trailer. I'm like, oh my God, it's actually going to come out.
Right.
So good for them.
But
also,
there's not much more to
damn.
say about it, sadly, because we talked about a lot of this already. Bloodshot movie, Harbinger movie, Ninjak series is being teased at the moment. Roku came out, great first issue. I loved that.
Yes. Roku's
Bloodshot
great.
issue 2 came out, great issue. I loved that. So
fun.
I'm liking the direction that Valiant 2020 is going. That the big fix they're trying to do with this whole thing.
You got and what about characters like Rye? Like who owns Rye, the movie? Could do that.
I don't know.
You know, Bloodshot, I think, first appeared in a Rye comic, so wouldn't it be fun if Rye first appeared in a Bloodshot movie?
We'll just get a mention of him in the movie.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'd be down.
So, all right, small leak. I don't know what we're supposed to talk about this, but I mentioned it on the title, so we'll just take 5 seconds to go over
Why
this.
not? Yeah.
You said you looked at it better. What is this leak? What new information did we get out of this?
Basically, we're looking at a spreadsheet that Dan DiDio allowed to get leaked. Clearly, it's generated by marketing, in which it shows you what that DiDio himself is working on the DC timeline, which couldn't be the worst. It couldn't be the. I guess that is the worst option. But basically, he's got this timeline of where it's broken up into G's, generations, because of course 5G or whatever is coming. But G1, year 1, G2, blah blah blah, and so we got events, characters, and each one is broken up by families: the Batman family, the Superman family, the Wonder Woman family, the Teen Titans family, and the JSA family. And so we're looking at things like with the Batman family, Generation 1, Year 6. Thomas and Martha Wayne get married and also have Bruce Wayne, which means either it was a shotgun wedding or. Like, we're going to fudge the year, but that does mean, because in G1 Year 1, Krypton explodes, Rocket crashes into Smallville, which, by the way, again, I guess it was only a year-long travel for the Rocket. That means that Superman is technically 6 years older than Batman. Cool, I guess. Also, Wonder Woman...
Steve Trevor? Yeah.
Steve Trevor crashes in Themyscira on the same year that what's his name? That Superman crashes in Smallville. So Steve Trevor will die of old age, and Wonder Woman will debut.
No. What they're doing, I can tell you right now, is they're lining up the Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman World War II thing or World War I thing. I forget which World War they're in the movie.
It's World War II. Well, it's World War I in the movie.
They're lining it up with the movie, though, and now we're just going to get a reason Steve Trevor's around. So we're turning Steve Trevor into the DC Universe's Captain America.
Right. Oh, that's such a good idea.
What if we give him a shield?
Yes.
We'll make it like a square.
But what if it's a Themyscirian shield? How about that?
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. And what if he has the ability to throw it like a frisbee?
Oh, that'd be great. Well, it's made of like special godlike materials, so it's it's lighter, but it's
Vibranio. Vibranio
Excellent.
is the material.
Also, we're going to retcon that, like, what's it called? Well, not retcon, but we're going to reestablish that Wonder Woman was a member of the JSA, and so Wonder Woman's technically the first superhero.
I mean, I'm not against because we know that they like to line their movies up with the stuff. The original Wonder Woman movie while having flaws, was a pretty incredible movie.
Yeah.
I'm not against them kind of converting it from being Man of Steel as the first superhero and turning it into, well, Wonder Woman was, because that makes perfect sense for this World War II thing. And it also gives us a superhero that we can tell you stories of in the World War II. And it also makes a lot more sense for her to be the first. It honestly does, because, okay, let me backpedal a little bit here.
Sure.
For people who don't know, Batman and Superman have been around since 1938. Did I get
39.
that right? 39.
Well, Superman,
so close.
I think, no, Batman's 39. I think Superman's 37. So,
Okay. But
yeah.
they, in continuity, when it was proper and not broken by New 52 and Doomsday Clock and all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
When it was proper, they basically did have Batman and Superman in the JSA. And they were the only superheroes that carried over. It was Batman and Superman.
And Wonder Woman. She was also a member of the JSA. She
was. But so the three of them. But the way they did it was, as the timeline shifted, they just said they weren't around during the JSA. And the JSA was on its own. And if you read issues of Batman Superman, that's an alternate universe.
Yeah.
Okay. But then they would still say things like, well, the JSA was the first superheroes, but also Superman was still around in 1937.
Right. Well, I mean, eventually they said that the JSA was actually a comic book universe.
Yep.
And that the real heroes are Barry and Diana and Bruce and Clark. And then when they were like, no, actually we want to keep doing JSA stuff, then they were like, oh well, then we'll merge the universes or whatever. I mean, you could watch a video on that. Like,
actually, I probably should make a video of the DC timeline. But basically, what it was is Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman were actually on the original JSA, and once the time, and it was made sense when they said, okay, they're separate universes, because they did that until like the 1980s, Crisis on Infinite Earths. They turned JSA's universe into one universe, and Silver Age, Barry, Hal, Batman, and Superman into another universe, and that made sense. It was like, okay, we're good. And then they were like, Crisis on Infinite Earths put everything into one timeline, and they're like, well, Superman must have been born later because we need him alive now.
Yeah.
We don't want him to be 80. So
exactly.
what I'm getting at is by making it official that Wonder Woman is the first superhero, it makes the most sense since technically her power set has always been weird, which includes she never seems to age in any iteration.
No.
I can't ever think of an old woman Wonder Woman. Can you?
No.
That wasn't in an Elseworlds or something like that.
No.
Because even in Kingdom Come, she didn't age, did she?
She aged a little bit. Like, she had a little bit of gray in her hair, but otherwise, like, she was still able to have children. Like, she was not. She aged slow like Clark did.
Okay. And one thing that we as comic book fans have always kind of ignored is that technically Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman have been around since the 1930s.
Right. And
we all just kind of chalk it up to being, well, it's like an 80-year timeline.
Yeah. Well, we just go like, well, just shut up. Just leave it alone. Who cares?
Just leave it alone. Yeah.
Don't harsh from Buzz, man. We're trying to enjoy these things.
As many things as comic book fans like to nitpick today, no one ever nitpicks anything pre-90s at this point. And one of those things is Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman being around.
Yeah.
So if they're going to try and actually fix a real timeline, and you want to state that Batman and Superman have been around for an appropriate amount of time, instead of going ahead and saying they're both 20 again, it would make sense to say Wonder Woman was around during this time period. She's practically immortal. Maybe she ages super slow, whatever the excuse is going to be. And then also feed it into the movie universe that they're doing with, which we already know we're getting Steve Trevor back in 1984. So they're going to already finagle how he time travels.
Yeah.
He's in the leaked stuff. So I'm sorry if you were unaware that he's not in the trailers and things that they put out. But
yeah.
Now, the only thing we don't know officially before anyone starts blowing up like, Betty, you're leaking leak stuff. For all we know, it could be a dream sequence, but the current thought process when seeing Chris, whatever his name is, one of the Chris's, Chris Pine, seeing him on set is that, well, they're going to find a way to bring him back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I read a leak that says exactly what happens in Wonder Woman 2, because like they had some screeners recently. And
okay. Well, then, we probably shouldn't do it on the air. I was going to say,
I want to give it away.
I want to know what the excuse is as to why Steve Trevor's back.
Yeah, I will tell you, and let me put it this way. It makes sense.
Okay. All right. We'll go with that. And you and I can talk off the air about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, it makes sense what they're doing with this timeline. I get it. Everyone hates Dan Dito, whatever you want to call him. I've never had a direct problem.
Who cares?
I've never had an actual issue with any decisions he's made. But
yeah.
What ones do you hate the most, Sal? Maybe you can start turning me against him because I don't really know what he's done that everyone hates.
Well, that's the thing. It's hard to really pin down. It's just like basically you have to track like previous behavior and comments he's made out loud and stuff like that. I've also brought the audience to task where I'm like, don't just say it's all one person's fault. I want to see evidence to prove it because I don't want to go on like our shows and say, yo, this guy is responsible. And the fact is, one person is not responsible for all the reasons like that things don't work the way you want them to. The fact is, like, it is not like a dictatorship of comics. You know, he has an idea, he implements it, the creators have to make it happen. Like, it's a lot of working parts. And the fact is, he can be overwritten by bosses of his own. So, you know, and also, like, there's co-publishers, there's co-presidents. Trust me, it's not the whole thing. That being said, we know for a fact that he's got an issue. He's got an issue with sidekicks. He thinks that like they age the heroes. He likes the idea of making everyone making Batman like 25. Like he was the guy who's like, Batman should be like young and and I don't know if it's like a creepy like I need to see my Bruce Wayne being younger than me, or if it's like he won't make money if he's old kind of approach, which we know that's not true. But we know he has an issue with sidekicks. We know he has a significant issue with Dick Grayson. And you can tell that basically because during every significant event since he's been started, something happens to Dick Grayson where if the audience eventually gets sick of him or decides they don't care enough about him to like write letters and get upset and all that stuff, then eventually they will just kill him off. Like, he thinks Dick Grayson being like a hero and having like his own legacy and stuff, like that makes Batman look really old. And so as a result, like, Dick Grayson's been pulled through the ringer a lot.
He has.
Yeah, and if you look at like all the, I'm like, because like they shot him, made him Rick and all that stuff. I'm like, didn't they just do this thing to him in Futures in Forever Evil? Like,
no, but there he was still a hero. Now he doesn't want to be a hero.
Right. Well, and now, and it's like when you know that like that kind of decision was coming from pretty much one perspective, it's hard to swallow the character progression of Dick Grayson being like, I choose not to do this, because you know that words are being put into his mouth that are by the people who don't want you to like him anymore.
Right,
so that
right.
If the audience collectively says, okay, yeah, I agree, he sucks, then DiDio can kill him off or make him not relevant or whatever. We can have a retcon. We go to Crisis, where he was never a Robin, where there were never any Robins, or any of the Robins that were Robins were technically like something else, like how Tim Drake became like Red Robin. There wasn't no, there weren't 3 Robins. There was only 2 Robins, and then Damian, but Red Robin was somebody else. Like, it's silly, and I don't really like, and I don't have like a roadmap of all the things that DiDio did that you can expressly blame him for. But I can say that, like, you know, there are things that have his fingerprints on them. For example, Countdown, Future's End, 52 he worked on, but reportedly begrudgingly. But he liked the success of 52, so he's like, okay, we'll just keep doing that. And so like all the weekly series that came out after that were mostly his ideas. And you're like, oh.
The Batman's worked.
The Batman's did work, but also people like the second one more than the first one. When you're talking
Batman
about
and Robin Eternal instead of Batman Eternal?
Exactly.
The only problem I had with Batman Eternal versus Batman and Robin Eternal, Batman and Robin Eternal felt like it took out the fluff, while Batman Eternal was like, we gotta go 52 issues, so throw in some side plots.
You straight up don't need 52 issues of this book. Like, and also, I think people were surprised and annoyed by the reveals. Like, I think the first villain reveal versus the second, no, really, this is the villain reveal.
Who was the Batman Eternal? Who was the villain in that one? The chat said it was Lincoln March.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But basically was kind of like a Hush kind of role.
Yeah, I thought it was Hush.
Oh, it was Hush and Lincoln March.
Well, it was Hush, and then it was like, no, he was being manipulated by me, and you're like, oh god, no, Lincoln March sucks.
Right, and Mother was the villain in Batman and Robin Eternal, and they just kind of honed in on it being her.
Right, which is smart. Make it one person. Don't make it stupid. Cluemaster, thank you. At first it was Cluemaster, and you're like, oh! And that was cool, because you made something...
that's when they made Spoiler, because it made sense, because Cluemaster was involved.
Yes.
And his whole argument was, no one ever knows it's me. You all think I'm like Condiment King.
Exactly, and it's like, that's cool. And then it's like, no, it was one of the big ones. Or one of the new ones. And you're like, oh. Anyway.
Okay. Well, anyway, it's interesting to see that they actually want to make a timeline out of it. On an ending thought on this, I find it interesting they're making a timeline.
Right.
When we clamored for it at New 52, we don't generally actually want one. We just wanted some answers in the New 52.
I do want a timeline, but I don't necessarily want to see it. What I want is for DC and Marvel to basically have like a board, like or a shared document that says, here's the timeline. Like, here's what happened, here's when it happened, here's who it happened to, here's who it affects, and it's just basically make it a handy guide for any creator who comes into this shared universe. Because it's like, I remember talking to Ethan about this the other day, where he was like, so you expect anyone who writes for Marvel or DC to have to read all this bullshit? And I'm like, no, I expect them to read the one column for the character they're writing about.
Yeah.
And at the very least, like, know your universe. And if I don't have confidence in the people who are the stewards of that universe to know what's going on, then why do I put stock in it with my time, money, and attention? And that's the thing with DC. And it's like, I think it's why they're doing a timeline, but begrudgingly. And also, I think the timeline is an excuse for them to get away with doing, because I don't trust them at all. Like, I think they're gonna like use the timeline to be like, okay, and then because of the time, no, you remember, you asked for a time, you wanted a timeline. here's the timeline, and this didn't happen, and this happened, and this didn't happen, and this happened a little differently. Whoa, I don't like it. Whoa, excuse me. You asked for the timeline.
I have a feeling it's part of that, but also like you said, they want a bullet point notes so that people can stop doing something and then they have to somehow fix it.
Exactly. What's the is it better to know what the problems are before they happen, or to have to make books that are specifically engineered to fix continuity? Like, what a waste. Don't do that. Just tell stories, but just tell them in a universe that you understand the rules in. That's all.
Yep. No, I agree with you on that one. All right, yeah. Let's move on to the next thing on the list is the Harley Quinn animated show is coming out. I actually don't have much to say about this. Looks fun.
I haven't seen it. Did they send it to you? Because I know they were sending out like screeners or giving promo codes. We didn't get called.
Yeah,
which I think is a real damn disappointment. You're getting that impression too. But
why
yeah,
do you hate us, DC Universe. We do nothing but promote your stuff. Please send me stuff.
We like your stuff. I watched all of Swamp Thing for no reason
didn't even watch
except
that
that
one.
I liked Swamp Thing. I didn't make a single video about it. I made no money off of watching your Swamp Thing show. But yeah, no, the show looks fun. I'm actually really glad that Penny from Big Bang Theory is doing the voice, because I think I'm done with people trying to do Arlene Sorkin. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do something else. I really like that Margot Robbie, especially in the trailer for Birds of Prey, she sounds a lot more like classic Harley, and that's cool. But when it comes to these cartoons, I'm kind of like, just do your own thing. You know, at this point, you're not going to touch the animated series. Do your own thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I like how they changed it up a little bit, because it also clarified, because when it's the same voice actor and actresses through all the stuff, it's just kind of, I don't know, it feels weird at times, because then you're like, well, is this kind of in continuity? Because you're using a lot of the same people. But I know you're doing it because you just want me to watch this.
Yeah.
So I find that one a bit weird. I do like having the different people, and I want to see more people get work instead of just having the same people get the same jobs over and over and over.
And that's the thing. Like, that's why I'm really glad, like, Diedrich Bader's playing Batman in this show, which should contribute to the lighthearted feel, though it is also going to be hard R-rated. And I think that's great, because Diedrich Bader doesn't sound really old, and so it'll be a lot of fun, because I love Kevin Conroy. He is the definitive voice for Batman for me. But I think it's time to stop asking him to do them.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like, I 100% agree with you. I think he's the definitive Batman. But we'll never get another Batman to even try if you keep hiring Kevin Conroy to do it.
Well, and they keep getting Jason O'Mara or whoever to do them in those awful direct-to-DVD or direct-to-digital animated movies, and I'm like, just get somebody else. Like, Bruce Greenwood was really good. I liked him. But for me, it's like the time to get Kevin Conroy to play Batman again now is if they were to do Dark Knight Returns, the animated movie, which they already did, but they asked the wrong guy. And it's like, no, Kevin's old now. Have him do Batman. Batman's old. Like, if you ever do a Kingdom Come animated movie, make Kevin Conroy Batman there, because he's older.
Because he's older.
But, yeah.
Okay. That's a good way to end that topic. All right, Captain Marvel. Why is she starting the zombie apocalypse? Why can we not just have one thing where she has proper character development and saves the day at the end? You want her to be this beacon of hope for young girls, a role model, and then she starts the zombie apocalypse. She's the latest villain. She gets beat down in a universe where her powers are taken away. She goes through an existential crisis with a new origin. I feel like Marvel, it's almost like Disney's like, we need a strong female hero. DC has Captain Marvel, and Pearl Eichmeier is like, run her through the ringer. Make it so that this is the most unlikable character we have ever created.
Do you think it's deliberate? Do you think Perlmutter's like, no, make her the worst? Because like, I would think that Captain Marvel might be the reason that Disney like kicks in the door and goes like, kicked in the door, made Feige in charge, like, because Carol was more interesting, more well-developed, and more sympathetic before she became Captain Marvel at this point.
Yes, she was. And that's something they don't want you to know happened to Captain Marvel.
And it's driving me crazy because, like, I think she's a great character. I think she has a rich history. She has an intrinsic connection to Marvel. She is a decidedly Marvel character.
Yes!
And yet, it's like they're going out of their way to make her unlikable. And I for the life of me, don't understand.
The writers. Like, if the writers, like, someone's like, you have to put Captain Marvel into your zombie story, and the writer's like, okay, but she's gonna start the goddamn apocalypse.
Right, and it's like, dude, I don't get it. What they really need to do, I think, to help her is don't tell big stories. Because, like, part of the reason why Daredevil and Spider-Man, and for the larger part Batman, are such fan favorite and beloved characters is because Batman, to a lesser extent, but even intrinsically connected to like his origins and stuff, they're just folk. Like, they're just people who, and they have really intimate stories. Like Batman, yeah, he also triggered like the dark crisis of DC metal or whatever. But sometimes he'll also go into the sewer and try to save a little girl from being kidnapped. Like these intimate, smaller tales that have very low stakes but have high stakes for the character are what make us care about them. And Carol needs like, I don't know, 20 of them now to fix all this because like
she's a part of every big event, but as the worst part of the event.
Yes! I don't understand why they just don't, like they need to be like, okay, we either put her away or make her go like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to help you. Like, you know, just don't put her in the event. Like, just don't. Just
I don't understand.
Do her
I don't
a favor.
get it. It's like Secret Wars, she made her own force.
Right.
And the entire time there was no development for her. She's just, I'm the almighty Captain Marvel. And then we go into Civil War II where she beats down Tony Stark, who's become like a big fan favorite at Marvel since
she fell in love with this like for the stupid concept that like no one should, but like, and it's not her fault. It's what they made the writers do with her.
Yeah.
So, you know, they made her on the wrong side of the argument. It's just like, I don't get it.
Do you think when they did Civil War II, the original idea was like, the fans will side with each of them, not realizing one side was just a dumb argument?
They did the same thing with the first Civil War. I mean,
but people actually sided with that argument because the argument made sense, you know?
Well, until Iron Man started like using the Thunderbolts and war profiteering. Like, if you read Civil War I, Tony Stark is the bad guy.
Yeah.
If you argue Civil War, yeah, Tony Stark is decidedly the good guy. That is completely what they should do. But like, if it were real, I mean, in Civil War II, Carol's the bad guy. There is no sympathy for her.
No, the whole thing is she's just like, no, we have to do this thing. And then they have clear moments. You're like, your thing isn't working. And she's like, no, it will work. You're like,
right. And like, I get it. Like, you made it so that because she was in love with Rhodey and then he died, like she's really just trying to bring him back through like making these decisions to try and protect other people. But like, that's not but she's still making horrible decisions though. Like, I don't care if she's doing it for all the right reasons. She's still the villain of the story.
Yeah.
And also like the whole concept of, well, we'll base legislation around this one person who can die, who can predict the future. Like, no, it's not like, it would be one thing if just really quick, I don't want to get into a whole pitch session, but like Tony Stark accidentally invents a future projection machine. He can read the future, but he realizes that like that's a stupid idea and you shouldn't use it. Carol finds out about it, breaks into Stark Industries and steals it. Now that's the thing. So it's not like a person who can die. You know, it's a machine and technology, and it's like her being like, you're not responsible enough because you don't understand how many people it can save. And he's like, you don't understand what this technology could do. And, you know, that's at least something with Civil War II. With Civil War II, where she's like, no, this random Inhuman guy, man, and didn't Ulysses turn out to be a fan favorite for everybody? But
I mean, it was literally just Minority Report. But I don't know. I don't know what they're doing at Marvel. Why make her the center of the zombie apocalypse? I mean, you know what DC did for theirs? It was Cyborg. You know who's probably got the least amount of fans on the Justice League? Cyborg.
And even then,
and you know what they're not trying to do? Make him into a fan favorite role model for young girls.
Listen. Deceased. Cyborg is the reason that the not zombie apocalypse happens. The anti-life apocalypse happens. I still feel bad for him.
Yeah, especially the ending. His ending on it, where he's like, I got the answer.
That's all Tom Taylor, man.
Yeah. Can we just say real quick, why did he turn his back? Cyborg at the end of Deceased, when he gets the answer and he turns his back to the big demon monster, I'm not going to give that a spoiler away, but he turns his back. Why would you turn your back to the monster?
Right. No, I felt bad for him. Like, at least Cyborg is 100% more sympathetic than Carol.
Yep. Yeah. So, all right, well, I'm waiting for them to make Carol a character that I actually care about again, because I unlike a lot of people who want to be very open about it because they love to get clickbait views on it. Right. I don't touch Captain Marvel because I like the character. I just want them to treat her right. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, I want her to be relatable, and I want to get excited about her. And I just, like, every time they just do something else, and it's just like, they just missed the mark. I was really excited. The life of Captain Marvel, the retconning history story.
I kind of liked that. I mean, I thought the retconning was a bit weird and unnecessary, but it was still fun. I liked it.
I liked it better than most of her stories lately, but I still prefer the Brian Reed run. Like, I think the covers to the Life of Captain Marvel run are better than the story.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel bad because it's like, it's not enough that I'm like, I want Marvel to have a Wonder Woman. Like, I don't really think that matters. And if I did, She-Hulk is that, or Storm. But in any event,
but they don't. At the time, they didn't have the movie rights to either one of them.
I understand why they didn't do it.
It was either a comics experiment or a weekly pull episode, but we actually sat down and we're like, what strong female characters does Marvel have, and they can position to be like. And everyone that we can name was a Spider Person, an X-Man.
Yeah, they were all mutants or Hulks, and it was like there was nothing you could do about it. But it's not enough that I want Marvel to have a Wonder Woman. I don't think that's important. It's more like I know who Carol Danvers is. I've read her stories. I sympathize with her, and I think she is a strong, interesting character. I don't think she's a Wonder Woman character, but like I don't think Marvel has Wonder Woman. Like. There is no Superman of Marvel. Captain America got technically, but he's also not Superman. Like, it's just like there is no one-to-one allegory for anybody. So, to stop trying to make one. You know, just tell your stories.
As much people like to be like, as much people like to be like, oh, Marvel and DC rip off each other all the time. They do, but they don't. I mean, like. Yeah. Once they start developing the characters, they go in totally different directions. Like Quicksilver and Flash, you're like, oh, they're the same character. They're not at all. No. One's a mutant with a sister and a megalomaniacal father, and the other one's Barry Allen, CSI,
right, or Wally. There is no
no one likes Wally.
I love Wally, and that's another Didio thing. But no Wally or no Flash is like Quicksilver at all.
Yeah.
And Quicksilver he isn't as fast as any of them.
So, all right, well, let's move on from this one. I mean, we're just going to start harping on Captain Marvel and why we want her treated well finally.
I don't want to waste time.
So, last big topic we're going to touch on today is, so there was a leak from, it was 12 days ago, of the supposed DC Universe, CW, and HBO Max DC shows.
Right.
No one talked about it in the YouTuber rumor mill because typically, unless something happens, this is all rumors that somebody made up. Well, out of those, so the list involves, and this is why you're going to see why we're talking about it.
Yep.
A Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle on DC Universe.
Yep.
A Red Hood Titans spinoff, which, oh my God, I would love so much.
I know you would.
A Superboy Titans spinoff, and a Hawk and Dove spinoff from Titans, which, by the way, still loving Titans, though I think they forgot about the entire cast in the first season. They are aware they built an entire team up in the first season, right? I mean, do you watch it, Sal?
I watched some of it. I was like, this isn't for me.
Well, I like what they're doing with season 2. They're building up the old Titans, and they're showing us how we got to where we were in season 1.
Cool.
Which is fun, but it's become the entire season 2 is the original Titans and their relationship with Deathstroke. To the point of Gar wasn't in like 4 episodes, and they're having a big fight, and he walks out going, what did I miss? And I'm like, everything, Gar. You missed everything.
Oh.
So anyway, moving on to these topics. So It looks like what they want to do in the DC universe is just do a bunch of spin-off shows of the Titans, which I still follow up with my secondary question of how are they getting funding?
I don't know. It's amazing. Like, I don't know. When they announced that they were doing like the Warner Brothers app, I was like, well, that's the end of DC Universe. They're like, no, 2 apps. I'm like, what? I think that's great. But I'm like,
they're going to do 3 spin-offs of Titans. How are they getting funding?
I mean, like, here's the thing. Maybe they're approaching the Titan. The reason why all of the DC Universe shows that are coming out rumored to be coming out in the next little bit, they're all spin-offs from Titans, is because they're approaching it from like the old 1950s movie studio model, where it's like, look, we have this science set. We're filming 5 different science fiction movies at once. And we're going to just rotate. So it's like, listen, we have sets. We have warehouses. We have evil laboratories. You know, we have all the sets that could appear in a Red Hood show. Like, you could easily just go like, okay, we just finished filming this episode of Titans. Now get the Red Hood people in. Just shoot everything. Move the boxes around. And you're good. Like, you basically have like the same
Red
bite.
Hood
Like,
spends most of his time.
Yeah, just don't break it down.
Yeah, he spends most of his time at Titans Tower in the Wayne Manor.
Yeah, like friggin' Hawk and Dove. Yeah, no, they fight. You mean to tell me that Hawk and Dove aren't just gonna punch guys in an alley? We got 4 alleys for this show.
We have 4 alleys.
It's gonna look great, and both of them are. And both, by the way, all 4 alleys just one alley, but dressed differently.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, I mean it's cheaper to make those shows, and you could just double up.
I feel like they spend most of their money on their costumes. Like they got real cosplayers to make the costumes, and that's where all the budget went.
Good, they look great. Don't skimp there.
So none of those have been confirmed, but this is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
CW, the rumor was that they were going to start a Superman family show with Lois Lane and the baby, which Tevye would like me to comment is probably going to be John, but I would love it if it's not John and it's something else just to mess with him. Anyway. And for those of you guys who are watching this later, Tevye is one of our frequent viewers, huge supporter of the show, so he gets his fun mentions. But anyway,
it's true.
They actually announced the Superman show.
Yeah.
So
great idea.
Oh, so we're getting some credibility to these rumors. But they, on that list is that CW is also shopping around they're shopping around the Metal Men show.
Yeah.
Why does DC keep trying to make the Metal Men a thing?
I don't know. I understand that they have their fans. I am not amongst them. But
who is a fan of the Metal Men?
they're all in the comments, and they're going to be mad at you for saying that. But like, I'm not one of them. I don't care about the Metal Men at all, and so I'm not going to watch a Metal Men show. There's nothing you can do to get me to watch a Metal Men show. But
what if it has Cyborg in it, like the New 52 version?
I don't care about that. I don't like Cyborg. But yeah, no, I'm not going to watch that. But it's fascinating because they're saying maybe it'll be shop around networks, and like CW will be their temporary placement. I don't know anyone who would option a Metal Men show. Like, where would it go?
Well, looking at the fact that they approved the Superman show, we already know that they are doing a Canary spinoff.
Right.
They're apparently confirming and dropping hints, and we're going to get resolution to the John Diggle Green Lantern plot line in this season of Arrow.
Okay.
It looks like CW is like, oh, Arrow's ending, and Supergirl and Flash probably got like 1 to 2 more seasons in them.
Yep.
We're going all in on these superhero things. We're doing everything you ever wanted. And I also love the response of people going, well, Benny, why can we get Superman but not Batman? Because they're telling Batwoman's story. Why? And here's the kicker. Here's the kicker, guys. See, look at what happened with Supergirl. Supergirl came out, introduced a Superman that you all asked for. Every season, can we get a Superman show? And Supergirl's on its 5th season, or Gary's nodding. And if you go to the standard life of a TV show, they go between 5 to 10 seasons. 10 is really stretching most shows. Most of them end around 6 and 7. Don't you think it was real convenient that they did Supergirl all the way to basically completion before shopping Superman? Now, let's take that same aspect and go to Batwoman. It's going to take us 3 seasons to get our Bruce Wayne, probably.
Yep. That's right.
And when we do, he'll start popping up, and you're all going to go, we want a Batman show. And at season 5 to 6, Kate Kane's going to go, it's time for me to move on and retire the Bat-Cowl. And guess who's going to come back to Gotham finally?
Right? I mean, especially because they've proven that there is no major significant confusion between audiences where it's like, there's a Superman movie, there's a Superman character in the shows. No one's confused.
Yeah. In the
no one
Super,
was confused
I'm
by
actually
Flash.
curious because they're saying that the CW Superman show, they're trying to do a family angle, like a family
Right.
show with him. And I like that because if you just did Superman, it would just be Supergirl. That's
Well,
literally
especially
all it
'cause-
would be.
Well, the show is apparently called Superman and Lois or something. And so what you don't want to do is draw the connection between Superman, Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, which was literally just a rom-com with Superman in it. CW is a network that we've gone on record for a number of episodes where it's like, this is a network for like preteens and teens. It's about drama. It's about like love and sex and romance and stuff. And also
And I like most of their shows.
Right. But like, yeah, CW being a show about like a newlywed couple, that's their bread and butter. Like,
Yep.
it's just, they'll
that are dealing with a child, but conveniently, one of them has superpowers.
right. Like the last thing you want is Batman to go on the CW.
He wouldn't fit because the
wouldn't
version of
fit.
Batman that the CW would create wouldn't fit. Batwoman is kind of a stretch. I like the Batwoman show. I think it's doing a great job. I mean, obviously there's some problems. I think the costume needs a little bit of work. I don't think I'm hoping Ruby Rose can pick up the slack and become a good actress by the end of the season. She's not terrible. She's not, but you can tell she's never been in a headlining role.
Right.
Like her emotions are always tough lesbian girl in every movie she's been in. She was in Orange is the New Black. She was in The Meg, and everything was like, check it out. I'm the outside of the box lesbian girl that, you're all good at, and I have 5 lines.
Triple X2.
Triple X2.
She did the same exact thing.
That's her. So she fits the idea of Kate Kane because that's Kate Kane.
Right.
But the problem is Ruby Rose has never had a role that had more than like 20 lines an episode.
Yeah.
So she didn't have to like exercise any real acting chops. Now, it's not to say she can't really. I mean, they picked her for a reason.
She probably auditioned well. I mean, the fact is,
she probably auditioned well, right? And when
I
you
like her and
audition, you
stuff.
don't have the full. And I do like it. Yeah, I'm hoping by the end of the season she kind of like she grows as an actress and can do more than what she's doing right now with the show. That my 2 biggest complaints are that she does need to grow as an actress. I feel like they kind of rushed her into that role because I feel like she could do a great job with the role, but I think they rushed her into it, and I feel like the suit needs some work still.
The suit needs some work, despite it being pretty good. Like
it is pretty good. The helmet,
the cowl,
the cowl. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just like Flash, like season 2, we got it perfect, and why do we keep changing it?
I don't know. I know what you mean. No, it's true. Yeah. So
yeah, she was a mute in John Wick 2. Our chat says, yeah, she was. She's good for the. I think Ruby Rose is great for the appearance, the attitude. She fits that for Kate Kane perfectly.
Totally.
She just needs more acting practice to kind of pull it off. Now, one thing did come out, and everyone's saying she got injured in those first couple of episodes.
Yeah.
So there's a very good chance she was like hopped up on painkillers trying to do it.
Right. Yeah, and so she wasn't really doing her best because...
Right. I mean, apparently she was legitimately injured, and she had to finish like a certain set of episodes so that they could put her on a hiatus.
That's right.
To heal.
Yeah, I saw her surgery. She released like the video of her surgery on Instagram, and I was like, holy crap.
It was like spinal surgery. Like she
It was
got a
spinal
real
surgery.
injury. This
Yeah, she
isn't
was-
like I banged my hand and we need to hide it. You
No,
know?
it was like, I might be paralyzed kind of surgery. Yeah.
And it was from the show, so.
Yeah. Yeesh. But good for her that she was able to like overcome, do better, like get better, and wants to keep doing it.
It's funny because when it comes to the Batwoman complaints, like I'll chalk up, okay, you don't like her acting, okay, that works. You don't like the cowl, that I agree with that. You
Can't
don't
argue with that, yeah.
You don't even like the recreation of some of the characters, like Hush and stuff like that. That's fine. The one that I hear and I just kind of like wave off. I don't like the LGBTQ agenda in the show, and I'm like, that you've never read Batwoman. Because that is literally that book. It's even when she's in a team book, that is literally her.
I mean, listen, like the fact is, she's gay.
Yeah, I know.
And there's nothing that's going to change that. It's part of her character, and it would be irresponsible if she wasn't, if the stories didn't in some way talk about that.
Right.
Because it's an opportunity to talk about that.
I mean, heck, even when she popped up for her quick appearance in Red Hood, the comic, at the end when the Red Hood's walking off, Renee Montoya shows up, and like they clearly like this is her girlfriend. I'm like, I was just sitting there like, oh, you ruined Red Hood.
Yeah. What? Don't remind me that gay people exist, damn it.
I think they've done a good job of not shoving it in your face, but just treating her like her actual character.
Right.
So whenever I hear that complaint, my general reaction is, did you not know what you were getting into when you started watching the lesbian superhero show?
Right. Yeah. No, then that's right.
But anyway.
And then HBO Max has shows.
Yeah, I was going to say, moving on to the next. I'm trying to talk as we go, Sal.
Oh, I'm sorry.
HBO Max has announced that they're going to do quite a few things. Vic the Question is on the rumor mill.
Yeah.
But we have confirmation on Green Lantern show, not John Diggle. Sorry for all you Arrowverse fans.
Nope. It'll be its own thing.
Yep. And Strange Adventures, which is an anthology show where they could spotlight DC superheroes that are not big enough to get their own shows.
Right. Like a Spectre, probably, or,
Yep.
The Creeper or Ragman. Which would be really cool, actually.
Yeah.
And I've heard, and this is the rumor, right? The HBO Max is going to be doing these 4 different shows. And we heard, like, yesterday, at the time of this recording, that HBO said out loud, like, we want DC to produce shows with movie budgets.
Right. Well, so somebody's like, they have those characters, some of those characters, like Ragman was on Arrow, and you're right. But CW, well, here's the DC Universe might cross over with HBO Max. It might, because they're doing Doom Patrol on HBO Max.
Yeah.
CW has always been a self-contained universe. That's why it's called the Arrowverse. So anything from Arrowverse can possibly just like Green Lantern. Like Green Lantern's going to be different, not because they're going to reference John Diggle. It's going to legitimately be pretty much in the same universe as Doom Patrol and Titans and stuff like that. So,
and it's cool that like the CW universe is referencing the movies and stuff in their Crisis, but the fact is they're never gonna put the CW TV actors and stuff into their movies.
Right. I hate to say that because I was a big adamant. I argued quite a bit that when Flash was announced as Ezra Miller,
Grant Gustin,
just give us Grant Gustin. But I do agree. Same thing with the Netflix shows, and they're like, I was like, just put Charlie Cox into a MCU movie,
I think they're going to, by the way.
Yeah, apparently they're going to reboot Iron Fist. That's another rumor.
Great
they're
idea.
Rebooting Iron
Works
Fist,
for me.
And they're rebooting Daredevil, but Charlie Cox is going to be Daredevil again. Apparently, supposedly that's the rumor.
I heard that rumor that like with the Daredevil reboot, it'll be like Charlie Cox Daredevil, D'Onofrio's Kingpin, maybe Bullseye. That's it.
And it's going to be a fresh start on them, just like they were bringing back the actor for Ghost Rider, but they're going to reboot Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I'm like, hand of God, that's fine with me. Go ahead.
Yeah. I
love those guys. So yeah.
But anyway, when it comes to these shows, they've announced all of them right now, and like CW is never going to merge over. And the overall mentality in Hollywood, from what I gather, is you can go from movie to TV and you still gain respect, but like the TV show actors don't have the respect to go into movies normally.
They don't. They just don't. And you can. Grant Gustin will be, if he hasn't been in movies already, I don't know, but like he could do it. But I don't think but DC is working on something else. Like DC Warner's does not want you to think about those shows when you're seeing the movies.
Well, I agree with that. And the fact they made DC Universe shows that they want to have some clear separation from the CW universe. Yeah. CW's doing its own thing. They're going to have the married Superman. Do you think Man of Steel 2, when it finally ever comes out, is going to have married Superman? No. Well, maybe they will be, but they won't have John or anything.
Tyler Hoechlin will not be Superman in that movie.
Yeah, exactly. Even though I think he's one of the best Supermen we've had.
He's pretty great. I do like him a lot. Yeah. But it's also why Brandon Routh is going to be in CW as Superman, but
because he's already on payroll.
Well, that's true.
But yeah, no, and the last show that they've announced is the Lobo show may get moved to HBO Max. Apparently it was I didn't even know this was going to exist, but it was going to be a spinoff of Krypton.
Yep. I heard it was canceled. I heard like they were like working on the Lobo show before Lobo even appeared on screen, and then they were like, and then they canceled it.
Apparently it's on the list of possibly going to HBO Max.
That would be fine. That would make sense. Although I don't know if that's such a good idea to connect it to Krypton, so they probably won't.
Right, yeah, with Krypton being done. It may be a situation if it was so far along in development that HBO's like, let's just pick it up. You know?
Right. Screw it. We got no more Game of Thrones dragon things. Put the Lobo on there.
So the only reason I give any credence to all of these leaks, though, is the fact that Superman was announced, Green Lantern was announced, and Strange Adventures was announced. So that's almost half this list.
Right. Yeah, so there's probably something going on there. I mean, the fact is, like, you know, with leaks, you know, you have to wonder like where they came from and take them with a grain of salt. And you always do that. But when you get announcements that come on the heels of this kind of thing, you go, oh, maybe.
So anyway, Sal, I guess that kind of concludes most of our major topics of the day.
I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Do you have anything you want to add before we kind of close out?
No. Surprisingly enough, I was just thinking about like if there's anything big on the horizon that I'm like really hyped for, and it's like, no, I'm just kind of like enjoying it right now. I'm just, you know, there's a lot of things on the horizon. There's a lot of things I'm enjoying in comics and in TV, and you know, I'm excited for the future.
So I do want to make one statement real quick that's on our comic book lines, because I get these questions a lot on my gaming channel, and I'll probably get a bunch here. There are leaks for the supposed new Arkham game.
Oh.
Now, I am avoiding reading them, and I'm not going to comment on them because I have done a lot of things at WB that have given me a lot of access behind closed doors, and to avoid any potential rumors coming out of me or any connections, I'm not reading the leaks, and I'm not commenting on the leaks. So
good. Yeah, that's cool.
I've seen way too many behind closed doors stuff that I was privileged to that I am not commenting on, and I'm not going to, if I read them, I could slip up and confirm, deny things.
Exactly.
I'm not even doing it. So leaving it alone.
Yeah. Actually, you know what's funny? You mentioned that. I guess we'll take the opportunity to say this. Somebody asked us, I think on Twitter, they were like, what do you do in the event that you like hear rumors or you hear leaks or someone that is on the inside track tells you something when you're doing these kinds of shows, when they ask you a question that could be answered by your privileged information? Like, how do you combat that? And I didn't get a chance to answer them, but I guess I'll say it here because it's like we do comment on a lot of stuff, and we do actually occasionally have access to privileged information, and we work with these people. And part of the reason, or part of the way that we combat potentially leaking anything is, or spoiling anything, is by just either like, you know, kind of like generically answering the question the same way that like they do, you know, looking at how they answer those questions, you know, pursuing a completely different line of thinking that is totally irrespective of what we heard. Is a good way to do it. But you know, just you will never find on our shows that we will say out loud the thing that we were told by people who are in the know.
Right. For me, I just clearly deny anything that I know in general.
Right.
I avoid anything because I'm not a rumor channel. I'm not here to speculate and talk and try to get you hyped up about things that don't exist.
No.
A lot of companies, and not just WB, but even DC and Marvel, Square Enix, I've worked with a lot of companies. You get privileged to go behind closed doors because I'm not a rumor channel, and I'm not going to become one. So I release information that they want me to release, and if they don't, I don't talk about it, and that's the end of it. Like that's... And that's all it is. They can use me as an outlet to get that information out there, and that's how I've always treated those situations. Because I don't depend on, here's some speculation, guys, you know?
Yeah. No, neither of us produce videos that are, is this the thing?
Right.
Like, no, we'll never do that. And so it would not help us to even start doing that, because we have avenues that allow us to work with people like on that side that, you know, would be hurt if we were to start doing that. So... you know, don't ever take our word as like, Benny confirmed it. You know, like, no.
And that's just it. Like, I don't even read a lot of the leaks in general.
No.
Because honestly, 99% of them are just some guy in Reddit that... Every leak I hear is like, it's from a random guy on Reddit who may be reliable.
www.weknowwhatsgoingon.com says, based on an unconfirmed suspicious report, that such and such is happening, and they've never been right before, but they're saying it now. I'm like, thank you for polluting my feed with this like made-up nonsense.
I mean, and the fact of the matter is this: I could sit here and name 1,001 things that are going to be in the new Arkham game, and if I get 2 of them right, everyone's like, Benny had inside information.
Right? No, it's like, no, it's just I live and breathe, my friend. I live in this world. I know what they do.
At 99 things and got 2 right. Like,
yeah.
So on that note, let's go ahead and close out today's episode of Absolute Comics. If you enjoy Sal, go check him out over at Comic Pop. You can find me over at The Comic Storian or right here on this Twitch channel where we do podcasting every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. We do about 7 total podcasts, from conspiracies to video games to talking about TV shows and comic books and just general discussions right here. If you want to support this channel and support the show, consider subscribing right here at the Twitch channel. For $4.99, you get access to a bunch of emotes. You get to have a lot of fun with us, and you directly support our projects. If you don't like supporting us over here on Twitch, you can easily go to our Patreon, patreon.com/comicstorian or patreon.com/comicpop, where both of us release early access to this show when Dylan remembers to give us the link.
Yeah, that happened last time, but it won't happen again.
No. So anyway, you get early access to both of those. We try to, for the most part, we try to make them kind of come out around the same time frame. At most, you get a couple hour difference between the two of us, depending who's at their computer and who's not. Nothing major. But you can support us directly in that manner. You can also go to G Fuel and get 10% off your order if you go to basically order your stuff up. I prefer the new PewDiePie flavor. It's delicious. But you can go and order it up and get 10% off using the code COMICS. And that is all of our avenues. Thank you guys for your support today. And I guess... bye, everyone.
So long.